What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. So, people have been sending me videos, right? And in those videos, the sentiment was that Meg the Stallion is now going to be suing some of the biggest vloggers and YouTubers and TikTokers and people on Instagram because of what they said, their sentiment, their opinion, and what was happening during the trial. And so, one of the things that was different from this trial that was much different from the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and maybe I need to tap in with the lead attorney to get some insight on this. But one of the things that was different from this trial than that trial was that it wasn't open and being recorded. And so everything was coming third person, right? When you were looking at the different sentiment and different people and the lawyers and the people that were there for the trial, and they were coming back and giving their opinion and reporting on it, we had to go by their word. We had to go by how it was that they were communicating to the general public as far as what their thoughts are. And then we had everything third person as far as the different opinions that we were able to draw based off of the information that different people that were sitting in the courtroom were giving us, right? And so then you had different vloggers, like it was a woman blogger that I heard from O'Shea Duke Jackson. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. It was a woman vlogger that it was reported that Meg the Stallion was coming after. And then you had DJ Akademiks. Now, a couple different thoughts from this, right? The first thought is, this is one of the problems that come along with having visibility, right? The bigger you get, the more subscribers you have, the more money you make, the more people then come after you for what it is that you say, and then you have to then be responsible according to the general public and the internet. You have to then be responsible for the things that you communicate to other people, right? Because this is much different than Tasha K versus Cardi B. And although it is much different, it worries me. And this is one of the things that I was communicating with regard to Tory Lanez. It's not just about the trial specifically. It's about the sentiment and society as a whole, then leaning into supporting women in every facet, every situation, and even in the courts. And so what you then start to see is that it spills out into everything that we're doing. See, this is not just about Tory Lanez. That's what a lot of men don't really understand. That's what a lot of women really don't understand. That's what people don't understand. This is about power. This is about a war against people being able to say what they want to say when they want to say it. We've seen the Twitter files get released with Elon Musk as far as censorship. And you not being able to give your authentic opinion then becomes a problem, because the narrative can be painted any way whoever has the most power and the most money and the most visibility wants to paint the narrative. And so although I'm not necessarily a fan of or against DJ Akademiks, I respect what he does. He gives his authentic opinion from his perspective, whatever that is. And to a larger extent, he just keeps it 100. He says where his alliances are. He goes hard in the paint against the people that he may not necessarily care for. He gives an authentic opinion, and I may disagree with it sometimes. I agree with it a lot of times. But we respect him, and he has visibility because of his ability to be authentic and entertaining at the same time. And so when you have that level of censorship, because censorship expands beyond just the social media platforms that pick and choose who it is that they want to rock with and who they don't want to rock with, censorship then expands to, as you see in this situation, somebody that gives their opinion about whether or not they think that Meg the Stallion was lying or telling the truth, or if Tory Lanez should be convicted or not. This is not just about Tory Lanez getting convicted or found guilty and facing 22 years in deportation and then losing his career. This is about whether or not a power grab extends beyond just the courtroom as far as whether or not Tory Lanez is guilty, and then it starts to attack you. See, you don't really care, and this is the general sentiment of people. They don't really care as long as it's not at their doorstep. But the minute that it starts to encroach upon what it is that they do, then they'll start to be a little bit more concerned. It's like the opioid crisis. And it's a bad comparison, but it's relevant. It's like the opioid crisis. Nobody cared about drugs until the opioid crisis started attacking their doorstep and their relatives and their sons, and certain people started getting addicted and depression and all that. Then it was like, oh, wait a minute, big pharma is bad. But nobody cared as long as it was tearing up the black community and drugs was destroying inner cities and all of this, and the schools was, no, it was this day problem. No, what you don't understand is that what happens today is all of our problem, because like I said earlier, the kids are the ones that are going to pay for the sins of their father. So when your son get Me Too'd, God forbid, then you're going to want to have a conversation because he's getting accused of something that he didn't do. Or when he finds himself possibly making a small mistake but having to pay a large price for it because he didn't know what he didn't know, then we're going to have concern, and then everybody is going to have to come to the aid of that specific person. No, what you do is that you start to advocate against the things that are negative and wrong and affecting us, and it is not right. And if we want to really be equal, then we have to be equal across the board. You want to advocate the things that's not right now, not wait until it actually affects you, but that's just the sentiment of people in general. So I think it's wrong. I think it's absolutely wrong. I think Meg Thee Stallion then becomes, in my opinion, Meg Thee Stallion, and I'm gonna be very clear, is the poster child. She has now become the poster child for everything that is wrong with society as far as men, women, and a gender war. There should not be a war. There should not be a war. I'm not an advocate for it. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. I don't like the idea that we then are warring against each other. I don't like racism. I don't like warring against genders. I don't like any of that type of stuff, right? But I'm not going to close my eyes and pretend like it's not there, like we in the Disney world or we in a fantasy land. The reality is that when you can go after certain people because you don't like their opinion about them, when you can start suing people about their opinion, that's crazy, because that's not defamation of character. This is not the same thing as Tasha K versus Cardi B. That was a completely different conversation. That was an accusation that was largely unfounded in that allegedly, according to what was stated in the court documents, and I followed it closely, especially with my guy, lead attorney, Tasha K was making up things about Cardi B's health that was unsubstantiated and wasn't true in order to get more views. These are opinions that people are having based off of whether or not they think Tory Lanez should be convicted and found guilty. And then the corroborating stories that then show that Meg Thee Stallion had two different perspectives as far as what it was that she was communicating to the general public, especially with Gayle, and then what the vloggers or the people that were inside of the courtroom and the lawyer were communicating what she said on the stand. So we can't call out the BS no more. We got to move based off of what other people tell us to say. Then it defeats the whole purpose of freedom of speech and being a blogger in the first place. The whole idea of us being able to communicate is that we can actually have our authentic thoughts without worry or fear of repercussion from somebody just because they got more money or more power or they got a system behind them. Because now this is the exact same thing that black people complained about, systematic racism. It's a class war, it's a gender war, and it's a war on your freedom that then you and your kids and your grandkids are going to have to pay the price for. Do not sit here and be bamboozled. Do not think that you are absolved from it. Do not think that it's not going to find its way to your doorstep. Don't think that you can just close your eyes and that's just at the end of the conversation. That's one of the things that our grandparents did. And they robbed us of an opportunity to really, really be able to level up and become the best version of ourselves, because they sold us a lie and then they said happy wife, happy life. And then at the same time, they was losing and giving up all of their freedoms and all of their I can see it clear as day. Let's just put it like that. I can see it clear as day. It's going bad. And although I don't necessarily agree with the overwhelming majority of what people like DJ Akademiks is saying about certain things, it does not mean that they should be under fire because one person that's a part of this profession that gets attacked then makes it open season on everybody. So I advise people to start being a little bit more informed, take a position, take a stand against what it is that you see, and We got to get off code, and we got to start holding individual people accountable, and stop supporting and buying all of their records and all of that other type of stuff, because they're using their image to sell these records, but we also need to hold them accountable on the other side. So that's just my personal opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Links to the Patreon is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I love you, I appreciate you. We got the Patreon meetup in a few days in Miami, and that's gonna be absolutely awesome. Let me know your thoughts about Meg Thee Stallion then coming after not just Tory Lanez, but everybody. What is your opinion? What is your thoughts? Leave it in the comment. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna holler at you later. Peace.